nope, fuck you, we're gonna eat that thing out. It's a whole workout. And now for the second part of the video, I'm gonna show you which are some of the amendments and fertilizers and boosters that I use for my plants. And the first one that I've already previously mentioned is Osmicote. So this is this little thingy here. The one that I have is for roses just because it had the most optimal NPK value for anthuriums. This one has NPK value of 79 and 11. They are a little granules which you distribute to the plant on top of the soil, or you mix it into the mix. I do both. So when I was looking for the Osmicote, I was opting for higher phosphorus and potassium levels just because I was mainly looking them for anthuriums, and if they're blooming, they do need more of those. I do have one blooming anthurium here, which is Anthurium crystallinum hybrid. I've just collected the pollen once again and producing another inflow. So that should be exciting, and it does not have Osmicote, so I will put some onto it. So with this particular Osmicote, it does break down over time. The liquid then runs out and it gets distributed to the soil. It's great if you forget to fertilize, which sometimes I don't really forget, but I get lazy because then I need to get all my plants to the bathroom and back, so that's really... it's a whole workout. Not really experienced fertilizer burn, except on one plant, which was my mistake, because it turns out it had quite some already mixed in the soil and then I sprinkled a little bit too much on it. And for the measurements, I kind of just eye it out because the instructions that are on the label seem a little bit much. The next one is my basic fertilizer that is coming to an end. So this is Picky Juice by Organic Nutrients. I see the culprit is a BMW guy going through the village, showing off his gnome skills. Good for you, hope you get that dopamine boost. And it's made for blooming plants, it's made for Mary Jane. And anthuriums really like it, it's really thick and I'm running out of it, so I'll have to get more of it. And the NPK value is 2, 5 and 8, so it's not really rich in nitrogen, so this is why I kind of use Osmicote to... oh, the sun came out, to supplement that. With anthuriums, another tip, if they are producing an inflow or blooming or already having berries, you should stay on top with fertilizing, or they will be just like, nope, fuck you, we're gonna eat that thing out. So this one can be used as normal watering, or you can use it as foliar feeding. I don't really do foliar feeding just because I already get enough water residue. Next one is Calmac, which you have seen, probably heard of as well. Overall, Calmac, it's a really good thing to have, but it does depend where you live and how hard is your water. So if the water is harder, it means that it's naturally gonna have more calcium and magnesium, and usually you will most likely not need to supplement it, but using distilled water or reverse osmosis, you will want to supplement that. Calcium is a finicky nutrient just because once it enters the system of a plant, it's gonna be immobilized in that spot and won't be able to move to a new growth per se. So if the plant is lacking calcium, it will show on the new leaves, but magnesium on the other hand can be mobilized and it does move from one side of the plant to the other if needed, but it's gonna show on the older leaves and it will kind of creep like in between the veins. With magnesium deficiencies, you get like rust type wannabe spots, brownish spots. Not the easiest to identify, both of them with plants, but I found that anthuriums do like to have high amounts of calcium and magnesium. So whenever I use Picky Juice, I also kind of add Calmac or Trichoderma, which we are moving on to now. I do not have a fancy bottle just because me and my friend bought 1 liter together and I still have like that amount of it and I'm using a lot of it. The next amendment that I'm using, and I've been loving it ever since, is Big Start, again from Organic Nutrients, and it contains a mix of fluvic and humic acids, seaweed and beneficial microbes, and we're gonna cover those ones so you can see why they are useful. So the first one is fluvic and humic acid. Humic acid will improve soil health, while the fluvic acid will help up your plant take up nutrients more efficiently. And since the uptake of the nutrients is more efficient, you can use lower concentrations of fertilizer. Seaweed extract is basically another feed for the microbes. It's gonna feed those microbes, which are then gonna produce some of the bioactive peptides or metabolites, and they can also produce antimicrobial components, which are really good. And overall, the seaweed extract will boost your plant's immune system. Plants are gonna be more resistant to stress and pests. And now we've come to my favorite part, which is microbes. Anyway, so the two strains that are in here, the first one is Bacillus subtilis and Trichoderma. Now, they have similar working mechanisms, but we're gonna start with Bacillus subtilis. Bacillus subtilis is a bacteria, and what it does is it's gonna colonize those roots, and once the roots are colonized, it basically prevents any of the pathogenic bacteria to suck onto them and start invading your plants. So then the second one is it produces antibacterial and bacteriostatic substances, so it means it's gonna inhibit the growth and reproduction of those pathogenic bacteria, and it can also kill them, which again we like. And then the last thing it does, it will also secrete some of the metabolites that the plant will use, and it's going to boost its immune system, more resilient to pretty much anything. So now we're moving to Trichoderma. Trichoderma does pretty much everything that Bacillus subtilis does, but it does a little bit more. Trichoderma secretes organic acids, which means it's gonna lower the pH, and it does help dissolving certain nutrients such as magnesium, phosphates, and iron, which makes them more available to the plant. The fun thing about Trichoderma, it has so many ways or mechanisms to kill pathogen. It can secrete antibiotics. Other way is it will find a bacteria, it will swirl around it, so basically squeezing it, and then it will release a compound that will break down the bacterial cell and it dies. And what it also does is it's way more efficient at uptaking the nutrients from the soil, so it will basically outgrow any of the pathogenic bacteria. And the next one is Mycorrhizae. I personally have not tried this one yet, but I do have a second here that I bought recently. So it contains beneficial bacteria and fungi that primarily enhance the root system of the plant. So it does enlarge it, and people say from 300% to 400%. So basically you get a bigger surface area for absorption of water, of nutrients, of all the good stuff. So the plant will create a symbiotic relationship with the... I think Mycorrhizae is kind of known with certain plant. I think it's corn, because it kind of makes like a little knobs in the roots. So this is where the nitrogen is stored, because the nitrogen fixating bacteria makes it, and the plant provides them with sugars and all that, so the bacteria can make it, and plant then takes nitrogen. It has a steady supply of it. It's amazing. I've heard that Mycorrhizae will only happen, or like the symbiotic relationship will only go on as long as the plant is liking that nitrogen, because it does make sense. The plant will not go and make all that food for bacteria if it has everything that it needs by itself. So this is it for which products that I use. You can let me know which fertilizers do you use. I'm always curious what do people use. I know it differs a lot from Europe and America. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It would really help a girl out, and hit that notification button, and I'll see you next time. Bye!